all seek it.
Must be destroyed.
If you do not find a way, no one will.
And now you can own it. When The Lord of the Rings comes home on VHS and DVD.
Hi, welcome back to Not Your Mother's Hobbies. Today we're looking at the first figure in our new lineup. We're going to be painting a Gimli of the Fellowship of the Ring. That's right, our next project is the Fellowship of the Ring. We're going to do all the main players moving in on Helm's Deep, and we're starting off with the stout little dwarf man, a Gimli. One of my faves, especially in the books. We're going to give him a nice bright costume, as well as add some extra designs and details to make him stand out. Starting things off, we're going to be using Blood Angel's Red, and this is going to be for all of his red tunic. Now this might seem pretty pretty red, pretty bright, but we're going to do some stuff later on that's going to kind of tone it down and make it a little more of a burgundy. This is what I had, and you can use whatever you've got. If you have a more burgundy color, you can start right off with that, but use this as a guide for where to put that red or burgundy down on your Gimli. He's got a tunic going all the way around, some little 80 bits for sleeves, as well as his bracers. Now I'm using this snakebite leather for his leather bits. That's going to be his boots, any of the straps on his back pouches, and little bed wrap, as well as the usual suspects like belts, straps, and his gloves. We don't want to forget his helmet either. He's got some little leather pieces poking out on there as well. Then here I'm doing the steel or metallic blocking for our silver spots. I'm using Basilicanum Gray for that, and just blocking in anything that's going to be kind of a silvery steel or iron or what have you metallic. That's going to be things like his chainmail. He's got this skirting underneath there, as well as the chainmail on his arms. It's going to be his weapons, the back of his helmet, things like that. I think he's even got some little silver bits on his hair if you want to do the tassels there as well. Garagak Sewer, I'm using this dark, weird brown. It's kind of like a scraggly brown, aged brown, if you put it down. I'm using that for the wood. It's just going to make it different from the leather, the warmer leather we're using for his clothing. Skeleton Horde here. I'm going to put this down on the under tunic, his little pantaloons. If it's not bright enough or not saturated enough, feel free to put 2 coats on there. I think I did the same. Using Militarum Green for his bedroll. I thought a green went pretty good, matched pretty good color theory-wise to all that red color. If you think it's too Christmassy, for sure, go with something else. Maybe use that Skeleton Horde for the bedroll as well. We got Gorgrunt of Fur for the beard. I'm using this one here because it's more of a brighter reddy brown. If you want to go more full red hair, you can definitely do that with maybe more of an orange color, brighter orange. But I've got this one. I'm putting it into the little creaks and crevices near his helmet as well, just to get the feeling that his hair's all smooshed up in there. Guilliman Flesh, we're using this to block in our gold areas, as well as, of course, do his flesh. He's just got his little face poking out in the front, so not a lot to do. You can just go right in there and go continuing straight to that helmet. To kick off our layering, we're going to start building up that tunic and making it look a little more burgundy and a lot less Santa Claus. We're going to be using this red here, though, to just clean up any of our smooshing and smudging and whatnot. Sorry about the focus here as well. His axe kept getting picked up and blocking everything out. When you've smoothed all those little blemishes out, you can go a little step higher. Start adding in some highlights. I'm using Evil Sun Scarlet here for this, and just going around dotting in some extra points of interest and highlight along the most raised edges here on the gauntlets and his tunic. When that's all finished, I'm going in with Pink Horror to add a little more interest and a little less red. Now this is going to warm him up with some reddy tones and really change it from that red look and kind of hue shift things a little bit into a different access. I'm also going in with the brush. Since this is a layer paint, it is a little thinner and we can get less coverage. We can use it like a glaze as well as building up some extra highlight points as well. Gunmetal over top of our grays to start putting in those metallics. That is, again, all of the weapons and chainmail he's got going around, as well as any ringlets or buckles that you want to do that color as well. Retributor armor, my favorite gold. We're putting this all over all the gold places. So his big old belt buckle, his wrestler belt buckle, as well as the shoulder pads, the helmet, etc. With all of the metallics put in, we are now going to shade and gloss over them. I'm using Nuln Oil gloss for this, and of course Retributor Armor gloss. These versions are no longer available, so use what you got, and instead put down a dark shade, or dark tone, or a flesh tone for the gold, and cover that up with a gloss varnish on top. And that's just going to blend in areas that didn't get hit by your metallics, and kind of make everything look shiny and metallic anyway. It's going to blend it all together and help mix those tones, as well as add some definition into the crevices. Moving on to the skin, I felt I was pretty blessed with a really nice ratio of highlights and shadows from that original contrast base coat, and only went in with Pallid Witch Flesh for an additional highlight. If you need to, though, on yours, use our usual pale flesh techniques to get yours looking good before adding these. Now, I did think I paled mine up a little too much and went back in with some regular Reichland Flesh Shade just to tint it down a little bit more, tone it down. He was looking a little too pale. He needed some vitamin D, some time in the sun. He was getting vampiric. Now, I'm using Deathclaw Brown here to do some interesting details. This is something I picked up from Swords and Brushes. Definitely go check them out. I'll put a link in the corner for you guys. But just to add some extra details that is missing in the sculpt that is there on Gimli's armor designs in the movies, we're just going to do some little cross-hatching X's on the back of the gauntlets, as well as that strip down on his tunic, the one that is protruding, that sticks out. We're going to just add some of those little X's. And we're going to do the same thing here with Catachan Flesh on the shoulder pads. These are actually scaled in the films, and that detail is not here on the miniature. So we're just going to paint it in by doing these little diagonal lines back and forth to make diamonds and X's. That's going to break it up and make it look a little bit like scales. Now for some highlights, we're going in with chrome, and we're going to use this on all of our metallics. That's going to be the steel and the gold. Going around here on the sharp edge of that blade to really make it look honed, as well as picking out some little pings and highlights on the belt buckles and that helmet and things like that. He's got these little rings on his ponytail and some of those scales in the back. Not all of them, but just a couple going around. As well as this is going to make our painted on scales look even better. Again, sorry for that focus, but we're just going to pop in some highlights onto those scales, and that'll help really make them look like they're not painted, but actually part of the miniature. Wraithbone for our L'Oreal highlights, just pop in some highlights around. Don't worry too much if it gets a little brighter than you expected, because you can always tone it down like I did using some raw Reichland Flesh Shade or a flesh tone or ready tone that you have yourself. Just put that over top. It's going to glaze it, it's going to tone it down and give it a red hue again. Lastly, we're going to do our basing. I'm using Basilicanum Gray here all over the place, followed by a light gray dry brush of Longbeard Gray and a dry brush of white, really pushing the stones and rubble to stand out, as I want this to look like they're in the Mines of Moria. Finish up with a clean black edge and we're done. And there you have it. Gimli is finished. Now you can see there's a little extra shading on his tunic. I did not film it, but I'll tell you what I did. I went in with Nuln Oil. You can go in with a dark shade tone and go in there, and I just added some extra shading to some areas that I felt needed it, like his tunic and the line underneath his belt, etc., just to add some extra contrast to those areas. It was a little too flat for my liking. So just going in and kind of lining the undersides and outsides of those designs. You can see a lot of it underneath the bedding blanket, next to the ponytail, and next to the beard, really separating the extra designs on the bottom of his tunic area where we painted those designs on, separating that raised edge, etc. All in an effort to really add those extra little details on this tiny, tiny boy. Thank you to everybody for watching, liking, subscribing. Big thanks to the patrons, as always. It's good to be back. Hope you didn't miss me too much. Let me know in the comments down below which member of the Fellowship you're looking for, what you got going on for painting, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye!